Shall we record something then? Coming up on show 585, the Mercedes EQB, Skoda's Superb plug-in, and the future BMW 7 Series that could come with a 120 kilowatt-hour battery. Those stories and a lot more coming up on today's podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily, your edition for Thursday, 19th of September 2019, with Martyn Lee. Going through every EV story that I can find every day to save you time. Thank you as always to our partners at myev.com for helping me make this show. If you're in the USA, then do make the most of a marketplace that's been designed from the ground up to be the perfect place to buy and sell and learn about EVs along the way as well. And if you're a dealer, maybe you're looking for finance and warranty and all those kind of things, all of that information is on the website. I mentioned this at the start of the show. The Mercedes-Benz current range of all-electric vehicles for the masses consists at the moment of just two vehicles. There's the EQC mid-sized crossover, which you can just about buy, although not in this country. I've registered for the email waiting list, tell me more information when you can, but I couldn't place an order for one. And the EQV, that's a zero-emissions people mover, revealed in Frankfurt earlier this month, and you guessed as well, you can't exactly go down to the shops and buy one of those either. So why are we talking about yet another Mercedes electric car when you can't get hold of the first two very easily in some parts of the world? Another green model from Mercedes is under development, and how do we know? We've seen the spy shots, according to Motor One, who always get some pretty good spy shots on their website. The Mercedes EQB is basically an all-electric version of the GLB crossover. It should be a more affordable version than the EQC. As we can see in the spy shots, the testing's done on public roads. Much of the camouflage is now removed as well. So the exterior design starts to reveal itself. Judging by the photos, it must be in advanced stages of development. It's wearing some production body, production lights, and you would say if that's on the outside, then what's on the inside is probably pretty close to final production as well. EQB will offer a range of up to 310 miles, that's 500 kilometres on a single charge, but will probably lose the 7-seat cabin layout of the regular GLB. I must admit, looks like a more attractive style for me personally than the EQC. Smaller, more of a crossover style. From the side profile, it looks like it's kind of got a bit of e-soul about it, as in a very sharp boot lid on the way down at the end. Not quite as angular as the Soul, but kind of, it's in that vein, and I like it. I like the look of it. Smaller than the EQC from the pictures, but you don't know till you get the tape measure out, and that would certainly suit A, British roads, and B, my very tight driveway. I'll keep an eye on that one. It's Mercedes in the news today as we talk about the EQC and the EQB and the EQV, the van as well. But what about the battery range on them? Once again, the Tesla fans have gone, well, look, all of the Teslas go farther for the same amount of battery. So what is it you're not doing with efficiency? And what is it you're doing with not giving people all of the battery to play with? Well, according to Green Car Reports, who have an interview here, the EQC, although it hasn't got its EPA range yet, it's got an 80 kilowatt hour usable rated capacity. Here in Europe, 293 miles. Now, Green Car Report says that'll be 10 to 20% less when it gets to the US on the EPA. I disagree with that. I think normally it's around 8 to 10%. You come off WLTP and you get to the realistic EPA range, but it can be within margins. Fewer miles per kilowatt hour, however way you slice and dice this, than an equivalent Tesla, which, if you have to say in the same sentence, would be the Model X, I imagine. That gets 325 miles from 95 kilowatt hours of usable capacity. So what is Mercedes doing? Well, Jochen Herrmann is the head of eDrive development for Daimler AG, and he said this, and I quote, "We don't think it's necessary to go for, or let's call it, the last mile within the battery. I would rather have something reliable, safe, and offer charging opportunities. Safety is number one within Mercedes, and safety also means reliability, quality, and long-term performance, end quote. I don't think there's anybody suggesting that for a moment Teslas haven't got reliable, safe batteries, and they do let you drive it down to the very last mile. Not recommended. Charging all the way to 100%. Not recommended every single day. But you can do. They don't baby you. They treat you like an adult. But equally, if you buy a Tesla and you have to take an interest in how to use the car, and that does include charging it to 80%, some would say 60% as well. There's a few voices out there on the forums saying, well, if you can get away with it, live between 20 and 60. People don't want to get super nerdy about this. How many people with their wireless router at home ever change the network address and the default password that comes with the one that comes from your broadband or cable provider? Some people just live with whatever it's called and the password that came with it because they don't want to be going in and changing things like SSIDs. Anyway, I think that's what Mercedes is aimed at. I think that's aimed at people who go, you know what, I just want to plug my car in, and then when I'm ready, I'd like to drive somewhere, and not get into the whole debate on forums about, oh, you went to 95% with your Tesla, that means it's very, very bad for the battery. So, let's all agree to do things our own way. Mercedes saying we're doing it our way. Well, today the first Superb Skoda rolled off the line, and I'm not being complimentary. If you weren't aware, there is a name of a car. It's called the Skoda Superb. It's the Superb IV, and it rolled off the line at Skoda, or maybe I should say Skoda, because it's a Czech brand and it's got the little umlauty thing above anyway. Maybe I should just say Skoda. The plug-in hybrid is made exclusively in Kwasini. It's built on the same production line as the piston versions of the Superb. The Superb IV has a 1.4 TSI petrol engine and an electric motor doing about 160 kilowatts on combined power. All electric range, 56 kilometres on WLTP, that's 35 miles. And if you're thinking, that sounds very much like the Passat GTE, you got there before me, you would be right. The Superb IV is directly related to the Volkswagen Passat GTE, the second model evolution of that. It's got the same battery, 13 kilowatt hours, same range, and the market launch of the Superb is scheduled for, all they'll say is early 2020, with sedan and combi versions. Well, Elon Musk has confirmed that the highly anticipated Smart Summon feature will be available for all autopilot vehicles with hardware 2.0 and above. This announcement comes just over a week after Elon said on Twitter that Smart Summon software was almost perfect. What a phrase, almost perfect. That is certainly an improvement on, what was the phrase he used a few weeks and months ago? It doesn't suck at the moment. Well, look, it's come a long way. According to Teslarati, they say that after Tesletta posted V10 release notes regarding Smart Summon on their official Twitter, a follower asked Elon whether owners operating hardware 2.5 would have the capability to experience a feature on Tesla's driving assist software that would allow the vehicle to find the owner through the app. Elon replied, clarifying that the newly released Smart Summon will operate on all vehicles running at least hardware 2. So what would that be? That would be kind of end of 2016, October 2016 onwards, I think you would find hardware 2.0. And this does change around the world as well, because it's something 200 and something feet in the US. You can be away from your car and your car will come and find you. Here in Europe, I've seen people saying, look, there's regulations, and the regulators aren't allowing Tesla to use not only autopilot, but some of the updates that are coming recently, and you've got to be much, much closer to your car for it to even work. And some would say that they will even restrict that to what is effectively at the moment, which is forwards and backwards, and Smart Summon not even being allowed to be used to its full extent here in Europe. I will continue to research that for you. Well, Tesla has made a lot of noise after Here we go again. Let's mention the Nurburgring. A couple of, maybe it was 2 or 3 Model S's, at least 2 prototypes. And by that, I mean the plaid powertrain, the stripped out interior, chasing down the Porsche Taycan's time. Earlier this week, it was reported that chassis prototypes, as Tesla calls them, had done the Nordschleife in 7 minutes 20 seconds, according to Car Scoops, according to what was effectively a guy on the side of the track from a German publication with a stopwatch. I mean, not the most accurate in the world. However, they're not satisfied at Tesla. They've just tweeted that they want the Model S plaid powertrain to do 7 minutes 5 seconds when they return to the German circuit next month. Well, BMW's plans regarding electrification and electrifying its entire range are picking up speed. The new CEO is at the helm, and as was reported a while back on BMW blog, they're planning on launching a fully electric version of the rather large, rather luxurious and rather wafty 7 Series, using the i7 moniker. It's a car that, if you were being chauffeured around in a 7 Series, you wouldn't feel out of place. And if you're driving the thing yourself, it's because you want to get somewhere with a certain sense of style, of luxury, of waftiness. The best way to drive one of those. My old boss used to have a 7 Series. Hell of a car. Today, new reports coming in from Munich confirm the electrification of the 7 Series, says BMW blog. They say rumours around 2 versions, actually. There's the i7 and the i7S. The i7 being standard, i7S being slightly better specs. The latter's going to have more range, be more powerful. The i7S is going to have 670 horsepower. And a 120 kilowatt hour battery. WLTP range around 600 kilometers or 360 miles, which puts it in Model S Raven powertrain territory. Final story today, and air pollution particles, or air pollution generally in the news, but air pollution particles have been the study that's been done recently, and they've been found on the fetal side of placentas, indicating that unborn babies are directly exposed to the black carbon produced by motor traffic, writes Damien Carrington in The Guardian. It found thousands of tiny particles per cubic millimetre of tissue in every one of the placentas analysed. Some of this is from babies, some from miscarriages, and as we know, miscarriage can be caused by increased exposure to air pollution. The link between exposure to dirty air and increased miscarriages, premature births, low birth weights, is now so well established it's beyond disputes. The research suggests that particles themselves may be the cause, not solely the inflammatory response to pollution producing by the mothers. A comprehensive global review concluded that air pollution may be damaging every single organ and virtually every cell in the human body, and that is, of course, 1,000 times worse when a baby is in the womb, and it's the most critical time of anyone's life. Nanoparticles have been found to cross the blood-brain barrier, and billions have been found in the hearts of young city dwellers. I'll pop a link to that Guardian article in the show notes if you want to read more. It's one of the reasons why this podcast being recorded at 7 minutes past midnight after a long day of working, a quick bite to eat, and then sitting down to do this, because, firstly, I love doing it and talking about EVs with you, and it's just fun, but also because there is a greater purpose to what we are doing, both you and I, driving and aspiring to drive clean transport and also to inspire other people. And I bear these stories like this in mind when I see the CEOs and the chief execs of those big auto companies coming out, and out of one side of their mouth they're talking about electrification, and then they'll either be caught off guard or they'll be at a motor show and they'll talk about clean diesel, or how there's 10, 20 years left in the best diesel technology that's out there. Then I come back to a story about how particles from pollution are found on the placenta side of babies. And I can't help but think these people have no moral compass. And sure, They've got hundreds of thousands of employees and factories that are built to make combustion engines and unions and pensions and people to pay. And I get that. When auto execs tell us that we should be driving so-called self-charging hybrids because it suits their business plan, because it suits the factories they've got built, because it suits their tech development, that they happen to be quite good at making hybrids and they would like us all to carry on buying them, please, because it suits them, but it doesn't suit our health, or the hundreds of thousands of people that die prematurely around the world, or suffer chronic asthma and a plethora of health-related problems because they want to make money out of selling us cars that do us harm. Say no thank you. There's got to be a better way of doing this quickly, hasn't there? Let's go on to our question of the week this week. Thanks to myev.com. What's your dream EV road trip? Anywhere, anytime, anyhow, with anyone? There's a thought. What's your dream EV road trip? I'll read out yours on Sunday. Email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com. Just leave a little comment on Facebook and YouTubings if you want to. Hey, thank you. 253 patrons of the podcast. Your generosity means we get to make the show every single bloomin' day. And all the old shows are online right now. The new shows come at you first and free and automatically if you become a subscriber, which is free in your podcast app or on YouTube. If you would like to come and say hi on the socials, search EV News Daily and I should come top of the search results. Worth trying. If I don't, let me know. I need to fix something. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.